Hello everybody, hope y'all are having a great day. Today I'm reading Dive Wimpy Kid, the Gregnancy, and it's exactly what it sounds like. But first I have a public service announcement. I'd like to hit 10k subs by the end of the year. You know what they say, start high, and maybe I'm a bit high thinking I could reach this goal, because we need to multiply my sub count by like 10, but I still think we could do it. Because if you guys love Dive Wimpy Kid content, please hit the subscribe button, so I read fan fictions every week, every single week. You'll never get that consistency anywhere else. Except for the fact that I didn't upload for 2 months in the summer. But no more of that. It's a new year, new me. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into Dive Wimpy Kid, the Gregnancy. 2 years earlier, Westmore Middle School dance. As soon as the DJ announced the last song of the night and asked for all the couples to skate in the ring, I knew I had to make my move. I spotted Holly near the snack bar. She was about halfway across the skating rink, and it should have taken me about 30 seconds to get to her. But because I couldn't skate, I had to slide on the floor. I only got to her about halfway through the song. I only got to her that fast because I took a shortcut through a puddle of soda. I had a big speech planned out about confessing my feelings to Holly and asking her to skate with me. But I was so flustered, I just blurted out, "Would you like to skate with me?" She looked at me for a second and said, "Sure, that sounds like fun." I don't know how I did it, but I actually got Holly to say yes. We skated for a bit, but mostly we just talked. Turns out her life isn't as perfect as I thought. The best part is afterwards she asked me to be her partner in the square dancing unit next week. If I can ever get out of going to military school, this would be the best summer ever. 2 years later. Thursday. I told Holly we should have used protection, but she kept telling me there's no way we could have a pregnancy on our hands. Test came back positive today, and here we are. I don't know how it got so far before I noticed, but I can already feel the baby kicking. Wait, Greg's having the baby? Interesting. So it might be too late for an abortion. I did my best to dress in a way that would hide the baby, but the way the entire class stared at me, I knew I failed. Even my parents have been avoiding eye contact with me. How could I let this go on so long before I noticed? I'm such an idiot. Holly and I are having a talk after school just in case we could still get rid of it before something happens. Luckily, I didn't have to wait for the end of the school day to see Holly because they were having a fundraiser, so I tried to take the opportunity to see her, but unfortunately Fraggly ruined it. Boogie boogie boogie. In my hormonal state, I slapped him across the face and he hit me back in the stomach hard. I collapsed on the ground crying and Fraggly was pulled off of me. Both of us were taken to Vice Principal Roy's office. Long story short, I had to confess I was pregnant. I only got a week in detention and Fraggly got a month suspension for assaulting a pregnant man. I would be okay with that, but Roy called my parents. Now when I get home, I'll have a long lecture about safe sex. I wonder if they'll make me keep it. I hope not. Seeing Dad couldn't have possibly gone any worse. When I got home, Mom's car was gone and the smell of booze was so strong I could smell it from outside the house. He didn't drink on weekends, so I knew I was in for some real shit. As soon as I walked in, he grabbed me and yelled, "No son is getting pregnant with that slut Holly." In his rage, he started throwing things at me. No matter what I said, I couldn't calm him down. Dad had never been like this before. I screamed, cried. I tried to calm him down. Mom and Roderick were in town, so calling for help was no use. With no other options, I pushed him aside and ran out the front door. I only had a few seconds of a head start, and Dad was gaining on me. So I ran into Rowley's house and slammed the door shut. I did my best to lock it, and I heard him pound on the door for a few seconds before yelling, "And don't come back!" The Jefferson family ran to the door to see what was going on. Looks like I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do. Friday. Explaining everything to the Jeffersons was nerve-wracking, but ultimately they were understanding. They gave me a blanket and pillow and some dinner before sending me to bed. I still wasn't sure if they were letting me stay or just giving me shelter for the night. Mr. and Mrs. Jefferson had already left for work by the time I got up, so I went to Rowley's room to ask him, and he said, "Of course we will take you in, Greg. My parents wouldn't throw me out over this, and we could afford another family member." Afterwards, Rowley called them for me. They told me I could stay home today and set up the guest room to my liking, and I must be exhausted after yesterday. I know skipping school is delaying the inevitable, but I'm still glad I did it. I can talk to Holly this weekend, and hopefully we can discuss if we are keeping it or not. Saturday. I couldn't meet Holly at her house today because apparently it's Heather's 18th birthday, and she was celebrating at Roller Arounds of all places. I was initially discouraged, but then I remembered this was where I got Holly to be my girlfriend. In commemoration, I put the stupidest pair of glasses I could find and slid on the floor until I found her. When I got to her, she said, "You know, you shouldn't skate while pregnant, Greg." That lesson introduction aside, our meeting went surprisingly well. We played a bit at the arcade, had a pizza lunch with her family, and even discussed what baby names we would have if I kept it. We eventually decided the names would be Francis if it were a boy, and Emily if it were a girl. We did the math, and I have 9 more days before I have to keep it. We were going to discuss it after they go out to eat at Springo's. They even invited me along. We didn't discuss it at length. Holly said her family wanted to talk to me about the baby. Here's hoping it goes well. Dinner with Holly's family was amazing. Heather seemed annoying the whole time, but other than that, everyone had something good to say. Things got a tad awkward when they started asking me questions about the baby, but they were polite and not too judgmental. As they were driving me home, they told me they wouldn't force me to keep the baby, but if I kept it, they would let me move in and help care for the baby until Holly and I are economically stable enough to do it for ourselves. I promised them I would think about it overnight, and tomorrow morning at church I would tell them my decision. Can't believe I only gave myself one night to decide, but if I keep it much longer than a week, I'm stuck with it. Even if I abort the baby, I know the Hills and the Jefferson family will continue to support me. But is it possible my real family would take me back if I did? Sunday, I've made my decision. I know it won't be easy, but it's the best for everyone. I wanted to tell the Hills family at church, but I knew my parents would be there, and I'm not ready to see them again. Oh, Holly just got home. Time to tell her. Hi, Holly. This is Greg. I've decided to keep the baby. You're going to be the best dad in the world. Holly was thrilled at the news, and her parents told me over the phone we could start getting their house ready on Wednesday. In other news, I've had the strangest craving for seaweed and octopus-flavored ice cream lately. Must be from watching Fregley eat it on his front yard every other afternoon. Speaking of Fregley, the Jeffersons told me he's coming over tonight to apologize for everything. I hope he can act somewhat normal when he does. Fregley's in the living room watching TV right now. I've got to admit, I was not happy at the prospect of seeing Fregley again, especially after what he did on Thursday. But I need to know where he gets that seafood and octopus ice cream. And it wasn't like this was my idea. I didn't know what to expect when Fregley knocked on the door, but it started out okay. Hello, friend. It quickly devolved into the dinner I had with him. He chewed with his mouth open, picked his nose, and talked about things you really shouldn't talk about while eating. But overall, it was worth it. He told me he was off his meds when he attacked me and I didn't realize I was pregnant. I haven't fully forgiven him, but his apology gift was a BOGO coupon for the ice cream I've been wanting. It's only available at Kmart. Not too surprised Fregley does his shopping there. Friday. I was on my way home from school today after serving my final detention. Wasn't as bad as usual, but I'm glad it's over with. Oh, and Mom wants me to move back in, but she refuses to respect my choice to keep the baby. Today, she tried her most bold attempt at getting me to remove it by hiring this guy to follow me around in my truck and tell me it's now or never. Joe's Mobile Abortion Clinic. No fetus can beat us. You can make him, we take him. Joe. I'm not even sure what I want anymore. Keeping the baby was my choice, and I mean it, but it's made everything more difficult. Sometimes I sit in my bedroom and wonder if it's worth aborting just to return to my family. What are you thinking, Greg? No, I won't abort just to return to the family who kicked me out. It's my decision, not Mom's. June. Heather moved off to college yesterday, so now I'm desperately moving everything into her room so I could move in with Holly. Honestly, I'm fine with all the room decorations Heather left behind, but her parents told me I have to use my own bedding. While things are going great at the Jeffersons and the Hills, as a matter of fact, Holly and I are getting married in October. The relationship with my family has only gotten worse. Anytime I walk past Dad, he screams explicits at the top of his lungs. Mom tells me how much of a disappointment I am. Manny calls me a ploopy. And I don't know about Roger, he's in California trying to get a gig for Loaded Diaper. I can feel the baby moving every day. It reminds me of how proud I am to have kept him. So I don't regret standing up to my parents. The worst part of it all is I have to schedule around not running into them. I can't go to church anymore, and when I go out to do some shopping, I have to specifically plan around not running into my family. The only good thing about it is I don't have to go to church anymore, and believe me, that makes my weekends so much better. On the other hand, though, getting screamed at by my parents is so stressful, I have to make up a specific route just to avoid walking past my own house. Thursday. Today is my 17th birthday. I got to spend it at the country club, so that was nice. I got to drink expensive smoothies, sit in the sauna, and run out to lunch with the Jeffersons. The only problem was when I started eating cake and unwrapping presents, a bunch of random guys came up and tried to mooch off my cake. I got a copy of Twisted Wizard 2 from Rowley, some jeans from Mr. Jefferson, and the rest was just money. I wound up getting over $350. I even got a package from Roderick. It was a shirt that said Loaded Diaper. He also included a note. Hey Wimp, I heard Mom and Dad kicked you out. Sorry to hear that. You may be annoying, but you didn't deserve that. P.S. Congrats on finally getting laid. Roderick. At least one family member is on my side. Wednesday. I got an ultrasound today. And there's good news and there's some bad news. The good news is I'm having twins. The bad news is I'm having twins. As happy as I am to be having two amazing kids, it's going to be so much more work than I anticipated. One is a boy and the other is a girl. While the boy is healthy and strong, the girl is tiny and very weak. I'm on my way to tell Holly. I won't tell her about the problems with Emily because just knowing we're having twins will be enough news for one day. August. School starts in a few weeks. Aside from the obvious reasons, I really will miss my water jazz classes. Suck it, Dad. Come on, ladies, get those arms up. Wait a minute, is that Roderick I see? I haven't seen him since December. Let's see what he has to say. Get in, Greg. We need to talk. When I got in the car, Roderick took off, barely giving me a minute to strap in. He started blasting music and going over every speed bump in town. Eventually, we pulled up at an unfamiliar restaurant. We ate lunch, talked about life, and Roderick said he got a girlfriend. Not only that, but Loaded Diaper's first album, Exploded Diapers, sold 10,000 copies in the first week. So far, it sold 25K. I had no idea where he was going with this until all of Roderick's bandmates came out of nowhere and started playing their song. I had no idea it would catch on so quickly. Thursday, Roderick and the rest of his band left today. We had a nice week. Apparently, Roderick was originally going to visit the rest of the family, but considering how they were telling him about what a terrible son I am, he decided to visit me instead. Surprisingly, Roderick was really excited about the thought of being an uncle, and promised he would come back for Holly and I's wedding in October. Still, I wish he wouldn't be gone for 2 months. Other news, Emily is still a lot smaller than Frances. The doctors say it isn't anything to worry about during the pregnancy, but she may suffer from a few birth defects. Frances, on the other hand, is doing very well, and we have no worries about how he'll turn out. October 14th, our wedding day is finally here, and it was almost exactly what everyone wanted. I hadn't seen Holly in her wedding dress, and I've got to say, she looks stunning. My suit is okay, but it just wasn't made to accommodate pregnant men. For whatever reason, Heather was pissed through the entire wedding. She even tried to object when the pastor asked for objections, but we ignored her. It all came to a head when Roderick surprised us by having Loaded Diaper perform at the wedding instead of the band. Somehow, he wound up pushing the wedding cake on top of Heather. I'd be mad if it wasn't so funny. Greg Heffley, do you take Holly E. Hills to be your lawfully wedded wife? After the Heather cake fiasco, the wedding ended pretty quickly. The good news is, as a wedding present, Mr. and Mrs. Hills gave us $500 and 3 days at a hotel to spend out our honeymoon. Holly told me she bought her favorite movies for us to enjoy tonight. Unfortunately, our tastes are completely different in that regard. What are you doing, stepbro? I'm hoping we could go to the amusement park tomorrow instead of watching, well, this. I might not be able to ride too many rides this time around due to being 8 months pregnant, but this could be the last time I could ever go to an amusement park without dragging Frances and Emily along. December. Holly and I took Emily out of the NICU today. We've been told to bring her back in if we see anything wrong. We have been warned she may never be in good health, and only time can tell if she can ever properly walk. The good news is Francis is almost the opposite. He has been a very strong little guy, very lively too. We have no worries about his childhood health. Even his birth went surprisingly well. It's a boy! Parenting Francis already had me at wit's end, and now taking care of Emily might be too much. I may not be able to write in this thing for a while. December 14th, 2029. It's been 10 years since I've last written in this thing, and an eventful 10 years it's been. Roger's become highly successful with his heavy metal songs. He even gave us tickets to his Christmas Eve show, and they all sold out on the first day. I've been working from home. I actually got a comic creator job at Funbrain. Good thing they let me work from home because Emily had to be homeschooled due to being unable to walk in on the autism spectrum. Not that it makes me love her any less. Francis has been taken after Holly. He's one of the most popular kids in school, and while he isn't an A student, he gets B averages. And a few months ago, we had another baby, Jane. This time I didn't hide anything from Holly during the pregnancy. I'm so glad I never aborted Francis and Emily. They and Holly have made me the happiest man on earth. Francis, would you like to give a hot dog to Mr. Rowley? Yes, Papa. And that's the end. That was pretty fire, I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of gas. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Yeah, I'm out of here. Peace. Also, like and subscribe. Help me reach 10K by the end of the year. Peace. In desperation, I took my shirt off to show him my pregnant belly, and I was having some mercy. That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not funny. With no other options, I pushed him aside and ran out the front door. I only had a few seconds of a head start, and Dad was gaining on. That's not funny, bro. That's not funny, bro. Oh, Holly just got home. Time to tell her. Hi, Holly. This is Greg. I've decided to keep the baby. Why'd I say it like a baby? Why'd I say it like that? What the fuck? That's odd. Bro, I literally said that like Forrest Gump in Forrest Gump. I'm so stupid, bro. Holly told me she bought her favorite movies for us to enjoy tonight. Unfortunately, our tastes are completely different in our regard. And that... After the cake... Fuck. After the Heather cake... Oh... After the Heather Cake fiasco, the London... After